welcome to Words Unspoken, The Hills podcast.
We are two Southern sisters rewatching The Hills and chatting about it bi-weekly for your entertainment.
I am Susan, and I'm a 30-something photographer.
I'm Jem, and I just ate a waffle 3 times the size of my head.
Jem.
Susan.
Guess what?
What?
Seth's here.
Hello.
Seth, what are you doing here?
I'm in town for an improv festival.
Well, we're so excited to have you here with us. We've had you as a guest before, but now we're together, and this is live, and we're so excited.
We're in the same room. It's amazing.
We are on the same couch.
So awesome. So we're so excited about this episode. It's such a good episode. So today we'll be talking about Season 3, Episode 4, Meet the Parents.
Guys, is this the best episode in forever or what?
It's amazing. It's probably the best episode so far.
Bold words, my friend Seth. Let's see how this goes.
So we start out this episode at the jewelry store, and Heidi and Spencer are getting her ring resized.
Seth and Susan, I don't think this is the store where Spencer purchased the ring because I do not see any high-end purses for sale.
It's clearly not the same store. I don't understand why they chose this store, but I don't know. It's a great place to get sized, obviously. I was amazed that you could do the sizing right on the spot. You notice it wasn't like a comeback. I mean, this is the most efficient jewelry store ever.
It really is. Have any of you ever had a ring resized on the spot?
I think MTV slipped them some sweet, sweet cash. So we find out here that Heidi wants Spencer to go home with her and meet the family. Yeah. Seth, what do you think about that?
I'm not flying to Denver or Colorado or what is it, Crested Butte?
Yeah. Crested Butte.
Crested Butte. I was like, Crested Butt? Crested Butte.
But there's a problem, Susan, with this weekend.
Spencer has a dilemma because Brody's big barbecue is that weekend.
Seth, what would you choose?
Always go with the bro barbecue. Mm-hmm. Always go with the bro.
The brobecue?
Yeah, the brobecue. You know, I mean, this goes back to the whole, like, contrived nature of things, right? Because, you know, like, you're asking me a week before I don't have plane tickets, which also defeated the drama. They could have made it more dramatic if he was just now telling Brody and he had already planned it, you know? I think they missed opportunity there for drama. I think I would have gone to the barbecue.
With Frankie. It's Frankie's barbecue.
Oh, Frankie's barbecue. That's a whole different story. But so he very generously decides he will go with Heidi to meet her parents and miss out on the barbecue. I hope that doesn't come back to bite him in the butt.
In Crested butt.
It is Crested.
In the Crested butt.
In the Crested butt.
So next we head to STI Motorsports, and Spencer and Brody are going to look at tires?
Is that Seth Thomas International?
Yes, right? Tires. I specialize in tires.
It's your side hustle?
It is my side hustle.
So Spencer drops the big news that he won't be attending the barbecue, and Brody is seriously mad.
He is upset because the brobecue is ruined.
That he's been planning for 2 months, Jem and Seth.
You know what's really funny about that exchange is when Spencer's like, you're acting really LC right now.
Which is his worst insult.
Right. That's the worst insult you have. Is like, oh.
He's like, stop flaking on me when we have plans. It sucks when you flake out on homies like that. Like, Brody's seriously mad.
Flaking on the homies. Is that like rolling?
Yeah, yes, you were flaking on the homies. Like, don't be flaking on the homies.
Check your little BlackBerry schedule.
Yes, check your little BlackBerry schedule. You know, and I get it, though. You know, it's like, I think what's really significant about this episode is we're starting to see the effects of Heidi and Spencer's relationship on Spencer's and his relationship with his friends, right? Because we've all been seeing what it's been doing to Heidi and LC. Now we're starting to see what it's doing to Brody and Frankie and those guys, you know.
Basically, all the friends are mad, and Heidi and Spencer think everything's great.
Well, everything is great. I mean, they've just created this like codependent situation, and like they're all each other needs. So
that's true, Doctor.
Yeah, they're like in their little bubble, and they don't want anyone else to come in, and it's just that's not always healthy. Sometimes you need to have some friends that help. helps. So then we head to Audrina and Justin on the beach.
Audrina is killing the strappy top, and they are the most gorgeous couple, you guys.
So they're talking about how Lauren and Justin Bobby didn't hit it off.
Well, I just think that it's, first of all, the pushing and the shoving. What is that with, what is it like? You still just like push and shove when you like somebody? Like, what's going on? I think at one point it's like tackling her, right?
It's just like playground behavior,
It is.
right?
It's a lot of that. Well, there'll be more of that, not to foreshadow. But yeah, I don't understand the conversation about Lauren. It's just, it seems like Audrina's really concerned about Lauren and Justin Bobby getting along.
And then Justin Bobby says, "Don't worry about me till you piss me off."
Yeah, right.
Oh, rude.
And then what does she do? She throws some sand in his face.
I just blinded you, LOL.
I'm pissing you off now.
Audrina's like, Lauren is just protective because I've been screwed over by so many guys. That's being a good friend.
Wasn't he the one that screwed her over? He left her. He went to a strip club and he stranded her in Vegas.
Lauren's a little protective of me because you're the one who screwed me over, and I'm seeing you again. It's pretty classic.
Yeah, it really is. And then in order to diffuse the situation, he says, "You look cute."
No, that helps.
Yeah, whatever, Justin. You are not showing your best side in this scene.
JB has no bad side. What do you mean?
It's classic JB behavior.
He's just Justin Bobbying Audrina.
The ultimate Justin Bobby is coming.
Yes, it is.
So then we head to Speidi's apartment, and they're packing for Colorado. The whole town knows they're coming, Jem and Seth.
And Spencer says, "This is pretty much the heaviest thing I've ever done."
And I think that's scene one of the epic scenes that make this episode so great, right?
Yep.
Agreed.
It's the heaviest thing I've ever done.
Spencer
just that word choice. It's so heavy.
It is heavy. It's heavy to meet the parents.
Especially when you're flying there and you're staying there, right? Like you have no choice.
That's so awkward. I would have at least gotten a hotel room, but I'm not sure Crested Butte has hotel rooms.
The Crested Motel.
I'm sure there's a Crested Butte hotel where you can stay and ski.
So then we head to the Boulevard Lounge, and the girls are having dinner, and Lauren announces that Brody wanted her to invite Lo and Audrina to the famous barbecue.
So wait, Elsie, Audrina, and Lo are invited to the barbecue?
Who knew that they would want to have girls at the barbecue?
Jem, you should probably stop trying to make barbecue happen. It's not going to happen. I mean, I see what you're trying to do with that, but yeah.
Maybe next time. Better luck.
So we find out here that Lauren and Brody are still friends, and Lo says, "You're really good with being friends with your exes," as if Brody's her ex.
Right. I think she's just throwing a little shade at Elsie for, always befriending her exes.
We know how much Lo likes the shade.
Yeah, that's her thing.
And an observation I had from this scene is nobody stirs a cocktail straw like Lauren Conrad.
Audrina wants to bring Justin to the barbecue, and Lauren's like, "Sure, absolutely."
She wants to bring Justin Bobby everywhere. It's trying really, really hard. And I think this is also like more setup, right? We're pouring it on. We're pouring the Audrina and the Justin on because, what is to come.
Yes.
You know what I was thinking about during this scene, Seth and Susan, is that really Elsie and Lo are 100% responsible for the Justin Bobby moniker.
Right.
He never really was Justin Bobby. Elsie and Lo made that up that day in the last couple episodes. They're totally responsible for this name, and whenever they say it, it's like they're just mocking Audrina.
Right.
Yeah, they're like making fun of her. I think Lo in this scene is throwing so much shade at Audrina the whole time. She's being so snarky.
And what's funny is they say the name and then throw their heads back in laughter at Justin Bobby. Ha 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 ha.
It's really rude when they know how much Audrina likes him. Like, I think it's one thing for them to be giggling about it on the couch, when they're not even there yet. But to do it right in front of her face, like, it probably really hurt her feelings.
Yeah, and Audrina's very sensitive.
Well, yes, very sensitive. And she's really into Justin, which is so weird.
Well, he is hot, Seth. So.
Okay, I'll give you that.
He has no bad side.
He's super hot.
So now we head to Colorado.
Uh-oh.
To Crested Butte. I have a question, Jem and Seth. Are Heidi and Spencer getting off a private jet?
It would look like it's a private jet, but I'm going to say that you don't fly directly from LA to Crested Butte. You fly and then maybe there's another plane that takes you to the Butte.
So it's more like a puddle jumper than
Right.
The Butte, as the locals call it.
The Butte, as the locals call it. A charter plane to the Butte, now that they're there.
Have y'all ever seen Spencer so
He was nervous when they were packing, and he's nervous in this scene.
And you know why he's nervous?
because he knows he's a bad guy?
Well, because this is the heaviest thing he's ever done.
Oh, that's right.
In his life.
And you know why I was nervous during the scene, guys? Because they were playing in the background that terrible Matchbox 20 song, Look How Far We've Come.
Oh, yeah.
That made me nervous. Y'all, not only is this the heaviest thing that Spencer's ever done, but when he gets off the plane, he says, I feel like I'm hallucinating.
Hallucinating the fresh air and the Crested Butte beauty.
This begs the question: what kind of drugs are you taking to the point where the hallucination is that I'm meeting my girlfriend's parents? That's the worst drug ever.
It's the heaviest day ever, so he probably had some, like, I don't know, some Butte Airlines mushrooms on the plane.
Some people like do drugs and like see leprechauns or like figure out like hard mathematical equations, like who takes a drug and then meets their girlfriend's parents. Like, worst drug ever.
Spoiler alert, this scene didn't really happen. It's all in Spencer's mind.
It's just a hallucination.
So then they pull up to the house and all the relatives come out running and greet them. We meet Mom Darlene, Sister Holly, Brother Sky, who I don't remember, so I don't think he comes up that often. And then Stepfather Tim. There's hugs all around, even for Spencer.
Can we back up a little bit and talk about Darlene trying to open the door while the car is still moving?
Yes.
And screaming, get out! Get out! Like, well, Darlene, calm down.
Darlene can't wait to be on TV.
When was the last time you saw Heidi, Darlene? The car's moving, Darlene. That would have been a really bad scene if the door would have opened up and Heidi just comes slopping out and just like gets run over by the back wheel.
She might have needed her plastic surgery a little bit earlier.
Darlene, let her out.
Yeah, her mom was definitely like over enthusiastic. It's like, whoa, bring it down a notch.
Her MTV stardom has begun.
So then we flash back to Brody's barbecue, and they're talking about Pratt Daddy not being there. Apparently they call Spencer Pratt Daddy.
Pratt Daddy, bet you right now he's riding horseback.
What a bunch of tools, y'all.
Oh, and right on cue, he calls.
Yeah. How convenient. He calls from Colorado. And he's like, man, she's just from a different world. Like, he's all shell-shocked about it.
He's hallucinating.
Now, Spencer grew up in L.A., is that correct?
Yeah. Hollywood Hills, Malibu.
He was a prince of Malibu.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think his dad was like a doctor of some sort.
Is his dad dead? He still is a doctor?
It still is. I don't
know. Has he died?
Is he dead?
Is the real Pratt Daddy still with us? When Pratt Daddy calls, the BlackBerry rings. I needed a technology alert in there.
Technology alert!
My question was, what was he getting out of the car?
So he could make the phone call.
Go to the car, grab some plastic bag of what mysterious whatever. Just go to the car and get a bag. It's really weird.
So he could make the phone call.
Right, exactly.
And then Lauren and Lo come in the house, and Brody calls her my lady.
Oh, Brody, you're so romantic.
And then JB and Audrina show up. And then we get a montage of beautiful people enjoying outdoor sports.
Brody and Frankie kayaking and wiping out. Ha ha ha.
Wait a minute. We missed an amazing foreshadow moment. Where was the cut to Audrina and JB on the motorcycle?
Oh, yeah.
With the kind of a close-up on them both wearing helmets.
Oh, right.
Ah, the helmet.
That was helmet
before.
foreshadowing.
Right. The helmet foreshadows. I think they cut to it after Colorado. They cut to it.
So they're driving to the beach house.
Yeah, they're on their way in the car to the beach house.
Listeners to Words Unspoken, the Hills podcast with Jem and Susan, please note, Susan and I have giant notebooks that we're using to remember everything. Seth has nothing in front of him, and he remembers absolutely every single moment of this show. FYI.
I wish I had that kind of memory, but
Same.
as Jem knows, I do not.
And Susan's usually my memory, so luckily we have a brother that can remember things.
I'm obsessed.
So back to the montage of the hotness.
Yes, the hotness. shot montage of all the sports. They played a little football. They played a little frisbee. There was some more roughhousing in the water between Audrina and Justin Bobby. And I'm wondering, was Justin Bobby swimming in boxer shorts? Was he in his
100%,
undies?
yes.
He was in his underwear.
Yeah, he absolutely was.
Homeboy wore his boxer shorts.
Homeboy wore his boxers. Homeboy swam in his boxer shorts. So just to be clear, in his boxer shorts.
So they're having so much fun at the barbecue. Everything's going perfectly, even though Spencer's not there. And then the most dramatic thing ever happens.
Bang! Smash!
Brody looks so hot falling down.
Brody hurts his finger and he mutters angrily, "Lauren did it."
After showing everybody, oh, my finger's broken and Lauren did it. And then it's a cutaway, right?
Yeah,
Lauren did it, cutaway.
And then we go to Colorado and they're strolling around Crested Butte.
And Spencer says, I gotta get a Crested Butte t-shirt.
Amazing.
I mean, don't lie, you want one too, Jen.
Don't you see I'm wearing one right now? Hello.
The Butte.
So Heidi makes a huge mistake and asks Tim what he thinks of Spencer. And Tim's like, he's nice and polite, and if he's the person you like. But Tim also wants to have the talk with Spencer. And Heidi says, I've always wanted a guy like my daddy.
And then he says, well, if that's who you think he is.
Which is kind of a little shade on Tim's part because he's the stepfather.
That's what I was about to say. Which one is she talking about?
Right? So it's kind of like a little shade, like, well, if you think that's who that is.
I didn't realize that. That's not Heidi's biological father?
Now, Jim, as we all know, you haven't watched as far ahead as Seth and I have, so we know what Heidi's real dad is like.
I'm leaving.
Bye.
Podcast anymore.
I can't believe she has no idea that that's not the real father.
Jem is so out of the hills, Luke.
So out of the hills, Luke. Like, what is going on?
I don't know. Will you be my new co-host?
Absolutely.
Seth?
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Welcome to Words Unspoken, the Hills podcast. I'm Susan.
I'm Seth, and I just had a biscuit.
I can hear you guys. I'm listening at the window.
Okay, Jem, we'll let you come back.
Come back in.
Thanks, guys.
Right,
1, 2, 3. Combat boots! This is when we finally see Justin Bobby is wearing combat boots at the beach.
Yes!
Brody is being so dramatic about the finger, blaming Lauren, and he's like, I'm gonna go to the doctor. Then we switch back to Colorado and everyone's eating outside. It's such a beautiful scene. They're eating dinner outside. It's so gorgeous. And then Tim says, let's go have a talk, buddy. Spencer breaks out in a cold sweat.
Is he hallucinating?
Y'all, I'm gonna have to say I love seeing Spencer off his game and nervous because he's just not like that.
The constant petting of the horse is what tickled me the most with this whole thing. Like, every time he was saying something, he's like, oh, let me pet this horse.
It gave him something to do.
Like some type of, release. Like, oh, this question is very, very deep. Pet the horse.
It's like horse therapy.
Yes,
like
definitely horse therapy.
And remember, Brody was like, Pratt Daddy's probably a horseback right now. Can we have a quick Jem, Susan, and Seth for social justice moment? Can we talk about how we feel about V-talk with potential mates and dads?
I would like Seth to answer this question since he actually has daughters.
Mm-hmm. About the talk?
Mm-hmm.
Would you want, in your future, far away from now, would you want, if your daughter had a potential mate, would you want that person to come to you and be like, so, I'd like your permission?
Yeah, because Tim seems upset that Spencer did not ask him for permission to marry Heidi before they got engaged. I feel like that's the reason for the talk.
I don't necessarily know, because there's the traditional dad talk, and then there's the talk that's happening in this episode. And I think that so there's the dad talk, which I think is I think it's going to change and evolve. I think I've had it a couple of times. I've had a couple of failed situations, so I've had it a couple of times. I think I've had the conversation more so because the father in the situation, it was clear that they wanted it, and so it was just kind of more or less like, hey, I don't want to be disrespectful. It's any other conversation. situation. Me personally, I don't necessarily know if I'm going to, I don't want to make it seem like my daughter's not my, they're not my property. So it's not like you have to come and ask for my permission to, you need to ask her permission. Who am I, right? Like, I'm kind of more or less, I want to, male or female, I want them to meet me so that they can understand that I'm the one who's going to murder them if they hurt this person that is, my daughter. I just want you to look in my eyes and be like, I'm the one that's going to murder you. But other than that, like, it's no, like, you don't need my permission. But in this situation, I feel like Tim is trying to imply that Spencer needs to share Heidi. I think they're more concerned about the fact that she has now alienated herself from all of her friends and it just become Spencer's world. And I think that's what this conversation is about. And I think it's very necessary. Although he makes the whole thing of like eggs in one basket. I don't know if she did. Kind of.
Yeah, she definitely did.
It's a good point. You were talking about murdering potential mates. It made me think about what we talked about last episode, Susan, about the time that I not blacked out from substances, just in life from anger, and said I was going to cut off your boyfriend's head with a chainsaw.
Oh no, you said you were going to cut his body up in little pieces with a chainsaw. It was very violent.
Sorry, dude. I'm really sorry. I love you.
No,
I don't.
Anyway, so then we head back to the barbecue. Justin Bobby is flirting with every girl at the barbecue except Audrina, y'all.
I have a musical moment, a little interlude here. A song by Jamie Cullum called All at Sea is playing throughout this scene. And you know that Susan and I like to point out when we hear an artist that we love. Jamie Cullum is an amazing British singer. He's an awesome piano player. And he's married to Sophie Dahl, who's a supermodel, and is the granddaughter of Roald Dahl, who wrote
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, as well as like James and the Giant Peach and other books like that. Yeah, so I probably like her better because of her connection to him than being a supermodel. I think it's super cool.
And I think she became famous as a plus size supermodel, and she's like cool. 6'2", and Jamie Cullum is like 5'1". So all the red carpet pictures of them are like everybody right now Google Jamie Cullum and Sophie Dahl. It's amazing.
I think we go back and we see JB like flirting with one of the women at the barbecue, right? And then we get some LC Audrina. Oh, he's flirting. He's flirting. And so we're starting to get a little bit of a idea of the kind of dude that JB is.
It seems like he's giving that girl his number, and I'm sure they edited it to make it look like that, but it really looks like he's just straight up giving her his number.
It does look like that.
He's putting it in her flip phone, y'all.
Right.
Technology alert! Technology alert!
And then Brody shows up with a giant cast on his arm and says he needs surgery. And the girls are laughing because it really does look funny because, he hurt his finger and then he comes back saying, oh, it's broken. And with this giant cast, and they're laughing before they hear that it's broken. And it's very dramatic.
And everyone is there are some sheets to the wind at this point in the party. Everybody's tipsy.
So then we head back to Colorado, and Darlene is talking to Heidi, and she wants her daughter to be in a loving, mature relationship. Darlene, have you not seen the show? She is not in a loving, mature relationship, but whatever. Darlene is very worried that Spencer is Heidi's everything, and Heidi's like, I have a lot of friends, and Darlene says, like, who? Like, she kind of calls her out, like, who are your friends since, you don't talk to Lauren anymore? And Heidi shuts down. She does not want to talk about Lauren.
And that's very telling right there, like Darlene is still pushing the Lauren issue and trying to figure out, and she's saying something about they were best friends and what happened, and I think it's also very important too that they keep alluding to the fact that Heidi does this when she dates guys, that she just gets all wrapped up in whatever.
And her mom says there must be more, and Heidi's just kind of like.
Well, I think the important line is she says to her, what did you do? Or what happened, right? What happened?
I can't remember exactly the line, but something to that effect. And like, they're talking about the sex tape, but once again, no one wants to talk about it directly because Heidi's kind of like, well, I didn't do anything, but obviously she can't say, well, Lauren accused Spencer of leaking this about a sex tape that apparently didn't exist, because we all know it didn't exist because it would have come out. But she can't say that because that makes Spencer look awful. But surely her mother knows about it because I believe it was in all the tabloids.
I love when her mom says, I mean, and Spencer could be the guy who turns out to be your husband. And I'm like, there's a ring on his finger.
Right.
They're engaged.
Good. Yeah. She knows. She's just trying to figure out. I think it was that kind of conversation. It was like, well, why are you with someone who made this lie up and did this, and this? And that's why she's just like, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
So Darlene knows.
It down. Darlene knows. Moms always know.
Mm-hmm.
My Crested Butte shirt I'm wearing today, y'all obviously see, but tomorrow my shirt's going to say, Darlene knows.
Darlene knows.
So then we head back to the barbecue, and we're in Malibu by the fire, and Brody is seriously mad at Lauren for laughing at his injury.
And he does the whole, like, well, you know, if you would have laughed later, that'd have been funny. But, like, right when I walked in, you were laughing. And, like...
The funny part was, I would like to know who did not laugh as soon as he walked in with the cast, because I burst out laughing.
It's a very large cast for a small
seems
injury.
overdramatic,
It
so
was
I understand.
very large. And you came back with x-rays. Like, you know, that's such an MTV thing. Like, who gets their x-rays? You don't get your x-rays.
Exactly. It's so weird.
Who gets their x-rays? And it's not like in a manila folder. It's like, come on.
Seth, if you'll allow me to open this cabinet right here, here's all the x-rays of all of my injuries that I keep in alphabetical order, chronological order.
Lo tries to make the peace between the two of them because Brody's feelings are so hurt. And my other question was he drinking in the emergency room? Because he seems very drunk.
Yeah, so drunk he came back with his x-rays.
He stole them.
Yeah, right?
So then we head to the Timberline restaurant, which Heidi's parents apparently own.
And Spencer is impressed that Tim painted the place, you know, and Tim responds, every stroke. Yeah, every stroke.
Wait, you didn't hire a graffiti artist to paint the Timberline?
No, I did it myself, every stroke.
And then Darlene says something that I think is a little odd. She said she thinks Spencer and Heidi need to go through rough stuff before they commit. And Jen and Seth, I don't necessarily agree with this. I don't think you have to go through rough stuff. I think what she really meant to say was that they needed to be together longer before they decided to commit to each other. Because I do not agree that you have to go through rough stuff before you're ready to get married.
I've always liked the phrase, you have to like summer and winter each other. I think that's a better phrase than like, you must go through some horrible tragedy together before you can get engaged and married. Like, that's unrealistic.
And let's be honest, they technically have. Let's see, they've gone through a pregnancy scare, breaking up a huge friendship. You know what you did. So they've already gone through rough stuff, Darlene.
And they've also been through sweet, then get out of my car.
Yeah, for sure. As well as creating a sex tape lie about your best friend and hiding it. So, yeah, they're kind of in cahoots together already. I think the weirder thing is she's like my wife. I'd marry her right now. I'm ready when she's ready.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
No,
okay.
don't say that, Spencer.
Yeah. I do love the looks between Tim and Darlene. They cut away to these looks between the two of them like, I'm concerned.
They were probably so concerned about her before they met Spencer, and now I can imagine that their concern has increased 10 times since they've actually met him.
Right.
Do you think that Tim and Darlene think they're hallucinating now in this scene?
So then we head back to the barbecue, and Brody asks what everybody always asks, where's Whitney?
She's really sick. No, really, I was working with her all day today, and she was just really sick, you know? Yeah.
Or
an episode without Whitney is no episode at all.
then they start talking about Spencer and Heidi, and Lauren is very drunk, but she starts saying, I lost a best friend last year too. And they're talking about how much, how painful it is. But then I think Brody's kind of trying to defend them as well.
Yeah, and I think Lauren was stirring up trouble a little bit by trying to, compare the situations.
I think that was just bump scenes, like, hey, let's just cut away here real quick and cut away back, because to kind of set up this idea that this is simultaneous.
So then we head back to Timberline, and Heidi makes a grave error by leaving the table. And Spencer sarcastically angel. And y'all, it's like he flipped a switch.
Do you think it was sarcastic?
Yeah. And he did not mean it. It was the fakest tone.
I don't know if it was sarcasm, though. I agree with you, sis, that it was the fake tone. But I think it was one of those, I'm trying to impress her parents.
Okay,
so it's like,
yeah.
What an angel.
That makes more sense, but it sounded so insincere.
So bad. Oh, yeah, because it's Spencer, though.
It was so terrible.
It was terrible. I agree.
That's what you say about like a pet or a baby, not like another adult.
It's what you say about someone who's not an angel.
So then Darlene decides to bring up Lauren and tell Spencer about how concerned she is about the situation, and this is when Spencer flips his lid.
OMG. So if there is a quintessential definition for triggered, this is it. He just flashed. He flashed. And all of a sudden you get the...
I wish you guys could have just seen like Seth acting that out. It was pretty amazing. He was just like a boomerang like happening right in front of us.
Yeah, a live boomerang. Yeah, and that's what Spencer looked like. I mean, he lost it.
He lost his meet the parents veneer, I think is what happened. Like completely just reverted back to real Spencer.
And did you see how concerned Darlene and Tim were?
Darlene knows.
They were like, whoa, this is not good.
Heidi comes back and she's like, why are we talking about Lauren? It's a good scene.
It's such a great scene. I loved this scene. I love how Spencer just flipped out. And I do love that Heidi shut it down and then the table kind of goes quiet. And it's just so awkward.
I got a question. Was Sky there?
Poor Sky.
Who
I
was
didn't
Sky?
even remember him. That's her brother or half-brother or something. And Holly, as we know, will join the cast later, so we get to know her. But I just don't remember Sky. I don't know how often he's in the show.
Right.
My t-shirt on Monday will say, who is Sky?
Who was Sky?
So then we head back to the barbecue, and Audrina and Lauren are talking about how hard it is to find good friends in LA, and they're so glad they found each other, and they have each other, and they got all emotional because they're super drunk.
Drunk crying girls slinging solo cups to and fro.
Because just a minute ago you said I lost a best friend a year ago, and now you're crying about this friend you lost a year ago. It's been a year, Elsie.
And Lauren says Jason hated Heidi, but Lauren told him she didn't care and stayed friends with her anyway, so she's so much better than Heidi because she didn't drop her friendships because of her boyfriend. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I feel like Jason enjoyed hanging out with Heidi.
Jason was down for whatever. He was not really
Who cares what
lucid.
Jason likes?
Seth is so angry about Jason right now. His arms are crossed and he's scowling and he's very mad.
And then Audrina says, I wish Heidi was a better person.
Ow. That's like the meanest thing Audrina's ever said.
That's really mean. That was awkward.
And then she followed it up with like, but you have Lo and you have Jill, and who's Jill?
Jill?
Jill? Who is Jill? She's an off-screen persona?
Wait, are Jill and Sky the same person?
Oh my God, Jill, we're Google searching you.
Jill, we're gonna find
We're
you.
gonna find you, Jill.
Well, that sounded a little creepier than
Yeah,
I
it did.
meant.
Okay, let's just do it again. Again, that's creepy. We're gonna find you, Jill. We're looking for you.
No.
Jill, we've got you.
Still creepy.
Jill, we've got you on Google Street View right now.
Where are you, Jill?
So then we head back to Heidi's parents' house, and guys, Spencer is regulated to the couch.
How are you on the couch in this giant home in the Butte?
There must be guest rooms in this house.
This is how you know we are related, because I was just about to say, there are guest rooms in this house.
Or at least can the couch be like a pull-out bed? Like, does he have to just lay on the couch like a
Commoner.
Okay, first of all, there's Heidi's room, there's Holly's room, there's Sky's room.
If Sky really exists.
There's a guest bedroom.
Jill's room.
There's Jill's room. Why are you?
I saw it on Google.
Why are you on the faux leather couch that faces the door?
It looks terrible.
Oh,
It really looks terrible.
A killer horse could burst through that door at any moment and gobble Spencer up.
Also, what's with this horrible blanket and pillow combo you gave him? Come on, the Butte.
Yeah.
You don't have better covers?
It's probably
the Butte.
It's probably from the barn.
Probably.
So then we head back to the barbecue, and Audrina's looking for Justin Bobby. She doesn't know where he went, and he isn't answering the phone, guys. Where could he be? And then all of a sudden, Lauren comes back onto the patio with Audrina's helmet that Justin left.
OMG.
Let's be real. Lauren can barely contain her glee.
She's so happy.
She's so excited, and I was a little irritated with her. And Audrina says, seriously, I'm done.
And then I wrote in my notes, LC, moi ha 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 ha.
Well, how much did she lavish in this moment, right? right? Like the first edit is her finding the helmet, then she puts it behind her back and like walks over like she's hiding it, and then I have a reveal. He left your helmet.
Only your helmet. So he clearly went off with another girl.
Right.
Now you're all mine, Audrina.
And she just says, seriously, I'm done. I can't do it anymore.
Epic moment 1 in the last 30 seconds of this episode.
And then, Jim, what does Lauren say?
Homeboy wore combat boots to the beach. I know you don't want to call that your boyfriend.
Best line ever.
What a great line.
Who would have thought that, 11 years later, people would still be hashtagging Homeboy wore combat boots?
Homeboy wore combat boots to the beach. And then we get the helmet knock.
Little wink and a smile.
So, Seth, Jim, would you like to know the real story of what happened in this scene?
Are you consulting the Encarta CD-ROM again?
I'm sure Seth knows because he knows everything.
Tell me.
Tell us.
So, Justin Bobby did an interview during the 10-year anniversary that said he was called to the beach house to film his scene, and he had to bring the helmet because he was going to take Audrina home, and then the MTV producers told him, okay, we're done with you for the night, and took the helmet and sent him off. So it was like a total producer plan. He did not leave her there. They just told him they were done filming for the night, and he could go.
Seth and I are sitting here completely speechless. That was not dead air. That was like jaws on the ground shock.
Did you really not know that, Seth?
I did not know that.
Are you upset? Oh, are you upset? Oh my God, I knew something Seth didn't know. My day is made.
Congratulations, Susan. It's the first and last time that will ever happen.
First, I'm in so much shock. 1, I'm like, I did not know this. 2, I'm like, okay. But 3, what's very interesting is because we know that a friend of ours hung out with Justin Bobby.
Oh, yes, we do.
And when they hung out the first time, he totally invited her to come out and hang, and then spun around and didn't talk to her all night long. So his behavior in real life is consistent with this scene. So to find out that the scene is contrived is kind of odd because he really is like that.
Wait, it's life imitating art, imitating life.
Right.
Well, obviously, he was definitely ignoring her at the beach house, so he's still a jerk.
Yeah.
And he just wouldn't leave her, but yeah, he's still a jerk.
And he put numbers in his flip phone of other girls in front of Audrina.
So it's interesting.
But it's just interesting between that and the reveal last week about the Lisa Love scene.
Oh, Lord.
It really makes you think of how much they contrive. But I understand we're not supposed to talk about how fake it is.
It was all real. Am I hallucinating?
I have this conversation with people all the time, and it's the thing about it is it's reality TV, and I think people key in on the reality part sometimes and they forget the television part. Television in its nature means produced for an audience, produced with a structure, produced with the whatever. So there isn't a reality TV show that exists except for like UK Big Brother, where they literally just turn on the camera and watch, and like at 2 o'clock in the morning you're watching people sleep, and I'm sorry, I'm not watching people sleep.
Exactly.
So, you know
Or are you watching Jill sleep right now
Right,
on the
exactly.
camera we installed in her home?
Exactly. Jill, don't stop grinding your teeth, Jill.
I think the show would be boring without the producer input, so I'm not necessarily criticizing it, but definitely I always find it interesting when you find out these things about the real story behind it. It's so fun.
So the producers made sure that Justin Bobbied Audrina,
Right.
but he didn't really Justin Bobby her, but he really Justin Bobby's people a lot in real life.
Right. So Justin Bobby, but it was a producer Justin Bobby, although Justin Bobby probably would have Justin Bobbied without the producers Justin Bobby.
Who's on first?
So we end the episode with the girls dramatically crying and hugging each other.
Life's tough, get a helmet.
Yeah, life's tough. Get a helmet.
Life's tough. And
That's so true.
And the episode ends. Jem and Seth, one little thing I wanted to point out as the credits are rolling is that, you know, the show that was going to be started soon, OC.
The OC, like VOC?
No, let me backtrack. Do you remember when Laguna Beach started? It was called called The Real Orange County because it was kind of a play off of the OC, which came first. Mm-hmm. Did you notice that the line producer on The Hill's name was Sandy Cohen? Isn't that weird? Like the dad on the OC.
You mean like the dad of the love of my life, Seth Cohen?
Oh,
from the OC?
Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
I'm like, I wonder if they got the name from that. Like if they knew that guy or whatever named it. I just thought it was funny. Like it's a very small tie-in, but I just thought it was funny.
Am I hallucinating right now?
Does this episode of The Hills pass the Bechdel test?
For those of you who are just listening for the first time, quick refresher on the Bechdel test. It's something that was created in the 80s by Alison Bechdel, a cartoonist, and it's basically a test that you can apply to a TV show or movie. And the questions are there two women in the production? Do they have names? Do they speak to one another? And do they talk to each other about anything else other than a man? Susan, did this episode pass?
Jim, I think it somewhat passed, but I'm not sure. What do you think?
It was the only time was when Heidi's mom was talking to Heidi about Lauren. That's it.
But once again, that was directly related to Spencer. But yeah, we'll let this one slide by the skin of its teeth.
Seth Thomas, does this episode of Words Unspoken, the Hills podcast, pass the Bechdel test?
Yes.
No, it does not, because you're here.
It says only women.
Oh, no, wait, no, because there's
at least two women.
We have two women.
And we had a conversation that did not involve a man at some point.
Did I just try to, like, woman-splain you?
You did.
That's cool.
Rude.
I got woman-splained by my own sister.
Dadgummit.
She's just mad because BBQ didn't pick up.
BBQ didn't take off. Fetch didn't happen.
Winners of the week.
Jim, who was your winner of the week?
The gorgeous husky dog that the camera kept zooming in on in the CB, which is what people call the Crested Butte.
Seth, who was your winner of the week?
The helmet. Played a pivotal role in the end, and it got on the head of Lauren Conrad. Got a little knuckle knock. The helmet definitely won the episode for me.
Oh my gosh, where is that helmet? Do you think that we can purchase it on
Jill
the
has
internet?
it.
Jill! Do you see it on her nightstand?
My winner of the week was the Timberline restaurant because I bet it got a lot of publicity.
And how was the painting done again, Seth?
Every stroke.
By Tim.
Every stroke.
Every stroke. Mm-hmm.
Seth, what was your funniest moment of the episode?
I'm gonna have to go with Brody whining about now if you were laughing it would have been funny, but like when I first walked in.
Seth, I would agree with you. That's my funniest moment too, when he walked in with the cast, because that's the time of the episode that I actually laughed out loud for real. So I'm gonna go with that. What about you, Jem?
This is so funny, y'all, because my funniest moment also involves Brody's broken finger. So like right after he gets hurt and everyone's standing around looking on in like various levels of shock, there is this random like surfer boy standing behind them who has this blonde curly hair that's like as long as mine, and it's just all sticking up in all directions, and this guy looks so confused. Like he's definitely hallucinating on some of that Crested Butte whatever, and he's when you rewatch this, which I know you will, Seth, in your brain because it's in there, this guy's hilarious. Like he's so funny, and he's just standing there like, oh my god, like in horror, like my bro's finger's broken. Brody's finger was broken.
No.
I'm the winner of the week.
There are some people in LA that are. There are some people in LA that are. There are some people in LA that are.
This one's easy.
The whole episode.
Pratfall was totally.
Yeah, in the restaurant.
What an angel.
That whole scene where he just like flips a switch and becomes kind of crazy. That is my pratfall of the week.
Same.
Yeah.
When he loses it over Lauren, she just became like this little whiny baby. Like
So Seth, thank you so much for joining us today for Words Unspoken the Hills podcast. We really appreciated it. Let us know where our audience can find you.
I'm on Twitter, USA Negro, and I'm on Instagram _USA Negro because my USA Negro account was canceled.
Oh,
What did you do?
shocking.
I was running from Jill.
It's Jill's fault.
Thanks so much for joining us. And thanks for listening to Words Unspoken, the Hills podcast.
If you've got a minute, please please give us a 5-star rating. And if you really like us, write a review.
You can reach us by email at wordsunspokenpodcast@gmail.com.
We're on Twitter at The Hills Podcast.
And we're on Instagram at Words Unspoken Podcast.
Our website is wordsunspokenpodcast.com.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Bye, y'all!